Today I'm going to be answering the main things that you're probably wondering about the Marvel Unlimited app. Is it worth it? Can I work it? Can I put my game down, flip it and reverse it? Woof woof! Hey guys, it's me Marcus, aka the Mad Dog, and we're back with another video. Yeah, you might notice I'm a little bit sunburnt from my time in Rome, but whilst I was there I had a great amount of time with the Marvel Unlimited app. But I've been using it for a couple of months now, so I thought I'd sit down and go through some of the things that I wish I knew before I'd subscribed to it. First up's going to be about the pricing and the availability. Now you might not be able to tell this from the website, but it is available in pretty much every territory. The only problem with that is all the prices are displayed in dollars because apparently there was no other currency on the planet. They do offer 3 different plans. The first one is the $9.99 monthly plan, and this is pretty much like a rolling membership, so if you get your fix for 1 month you can cancel it, or if you're the type of person who can read things really quick, maybe you can sign up for just 1 month, read everything that you wanted to, and then just cancel it and have only paid $9.99. But if that's not you, you can sign up to the annual plan, which is $69.99, and this was the option that I went for. Admittedly, as soon as I signed up for this plan, they then had a discount, so at the minute it is currently $60. Which does just prove sod's law that if I buy something it will go cheaper, and in future they might have further discounts. But with this, so you do have to pay the total upfront, so if you've got the spare cash then it would definitely be worth it. Because it means that you're only effectively paying about $5.75 a month. And no, I'm not good at maths, it said that on the website. And I was sort of in this weird mindset that I thought that the service wasn't really worth it for $9.99 a month, but for $70 a year I thought it really was. So maybe that's just me being a fool to a good sales tactic, but at the end of the day I do think that for $5.75 a month this is pretty much an unbeatable service. If you like Marvel comics and you want to read more of them. If you don't like Marvel comics, this definitely is not the app for you. The third option that I wasn't even remotely tempted by is the annual plus subscription. Now with this you get some kind of exclusive starter kit. I'm not sure if this is only available in the US because of shipping and stuff like that, but you do get an exclusive Marvel Legends figure that's probably going to be repackaged about 100 or so times if Hasbro has anything to go off. You get a funky looking box, some kind of badge, and then you get 2 covers of comics that you can probably just read on the service that you just subscribed to. This is $100. I don't really think the box is worth the $30 or $40 difference that you'd be paying. Now don't get me wrong, I'm still going to love my physical comics and my collected editions, and if you're looking to pick up any of them, you can get them from the channel sponsor, Organic Price Books. They've got great packaging, fast shipping, and amazing customer services, and if you use code WOOFWOOF, you'll get $2 off your order. And if you're ordering 3 or more books and you want them to be delivered together, make sure you use code WOOFWOOF, ship it together for 5% off your entire order. Don't worry, you can just copy and paste them from the description down below, and you can use these codes as many times as you like. Now on the surface it does look like there is an absolute stacked amount of comics that is on this app. The website says that there's over 29,000, and personally I don't know why you wouldn't just say 30,000. Like, why say over 29? Like, nobody's going to count and prove you wrong. Actually, I've been on YouTube long enough now to know that there would be at least one person who would definitely do that. And when I was first playing around with this app, I was having a hard time finding something they didn't have. The longer that I've been with it and that I've looked for more obscure series, it has been a bit more difficult. So for example, if you want to read a few issues of Knights of Pendragon before that omnibus comes out later this year, then you're probably going to have a difficult time. It seems as well that it's 3 months behind, and that isn't too much of a delay, especially for somebody like myself who's coming from a collected editions background. I don't really need to read new comics as and when they're coming out, and there's so many other things on this that I'm preoccupied in the meantime. The only modern one that I couldn't find, and I'm not saying that this is the only one that isn't available, was the Savage Avengers, and then I tried to look for different Conan titles, and there's pretty much just no recollection of them. I know obviously there's been that rights issue that's going on recently, but I didn't think they would happen this quickly. However, they do have the modern Star Wars titles, so there is a range beyond just the Marvel universe, but I just find it a bit ironic that for an app that's called Marvel Unlimited, it is limited to the Marvel books that they want you to see. But maybe I've just got some kind of parental control setting on this that I'm not aware of, but I could find absolutely 0 Max books. I looked for Punisher Max and it wasn't there, I looked for Alias and I couldn't see it, and even though yes it does have stuff like the Punisher Marvel Knights run, which I did do a review of last year, so you can check that out. If it is that you like something a bit more off the beaten track, then you are going to have a difficult time with this. As well, I just think that anything that's going under some kind of legal rights issue isn't going to be on here, so I couldn't find any issues of like Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, but it does seem like they are constantly trying to add new issues. I just noticed that they added a lot of Dazzler, so if that was the thing that was preventing you from signing up to Marvel Unlimited, now's your time. But with any app, it's always worth knowing about how easy it is to use, and I think when you immediately start into Marvel Unlimited, it's quite intuitive and you know exactly what you need to do. The search function works really well and it gives you a lot of different options. You can browse by series, character, and there's also an option to search via your creator, which I just think is great. The homepage does feature a nice variety of stuff and you can immediately jump into a few popular series just by loading up the app. But again, maybe this is just me being stupid, but I think if I struggle with it, then maybe somebody else would. But there is a really difficult process to get to the settings. There were some things that I wanted to change or just modify so that they were better for my reading experience, and it is really difficult to get to there. I'm not gonna lie, I just still haven't found it, and this is when I'm using my iPad. Settings is more about your account settings rather than it is about the app. So if it is that you have a struggle with anything on this app, it's going to be really difficult to rectify it. Now I'm just going to touch on the navigation a bit because I've been using this on both my iPad and also my phone whilst I was on breaks and stuff at work. I do think that a bigger device is definitely the way to go with this, because maybe it's just me showing me age, but I much preferred when I could view the full page. They had this thing called Smart Guide or Smart View or Guided View, it's one of them three, which means it does zoom into the panel and it sort of guides you through the way that you should read it. In all honesty, I do not like this way of viewing comics, because you'll often go from here to there to back to here to there to there to there, and it was just a bit confusing. I often like knowing where I am within the page and within the panel, and this guided view wasn't really the one for me. Like, the last thing that I want when I read comics is motion sickness, and I think on a smaller device it does get the job done, and just to have the novelty of carrying my comics around with me that I can read pretty much at any time, it's worth that sacrifice. And I do genuinely feel like some people would prefer this mode, but for me personally, I think if I can't see the full page, the comic just feels longer. So if you're new to reading comics digitally, it might be a bit of a jarring change, in which case I definitely recommend checking out my beginner's guide to digital comics. But maybe that does just come down to personal preference, and I think for me, as much as I appreciate some of these improvements and different options that they do offer, I just like reading a page of comic. And you're probably wondering, can you use Marvel Unlimited on a desktop? And I wish I could give you the answer to that, but it would never let me sign in. I changed my password on the same device, copy and pasted it across, and it still wouldn't let me. So I don't know if that's just a technical issue, something to do with my location, but either way, I didn't even get a chance to try this out. Now, to touch on some of the features of Marvel Unlimited, or what I think it could improve on that might be a deal breaker for some of you guys, straight out the gate, I absolutely love that you could download issues and read them offline. And it still works in the same way, so if you do guided view, it doesn't really affect that. And that is quite useful because there's a lot of times where if your internet isn't completely perfect, it will spend quite a bit of time buffering. And we're talking on a similar level to 2008 YouTube here. It feels like it only loads the next page when you agree to go onto it. It doesn't preload the pages as soon as you start reading it so that you've got a seamless experience. So if anything, I'd actually recommend downloading the issues before you even start reading them, even if you've got an internet connection. As well, with every single issue that you read, it's got a great information section that tells you who's working on the book, and it also connects you to their specific page if that's who you're looking for. I like that connectivity. They felt like it was really giving props to these creators and allowing them to get a bit of the spotlight. Speaking of spotlights, they do also have specific sections for different characters. It's also got great reading guides if you're trying to follow a specific event, but that's actually one of the downsides that I've got with this app, because it shows that it does understand that those issues can all be connected even if they aren't under the same title. So for an example, at the minute I'm reading a specific Iron Man series that Marvel should really get a move on and publish an omnibus for, and there's a lot of heavy crossovers with Siege and the Heroic Age and Fear itself.
One eternity later.
But it never allows you to jump to those issues. So yeah, every time you finish an issue, it might say, oh, continue on to issue 504. But then in issue 504, it would reference something that happened in an event between the issues that you just read, but it never gives you an option to jump straight to it. Yes, that might just feel like I'm being a little bit nitpicky, and it does seem like Marvel doesn't really have a great attitude towards mapping stuff. Like, just look at some of the event omnibuses, everything's just contained in its individual series. And that's something that I think really could have pushed it higher than physical comics. If you go into your comic shop and buy an issue of something and then find out that you need an event that's not even titled the same thing, you're kind of out of luck. You'd have to go back and hope that they've got that issue. Marvel Unlimited has that issue and they still won't show it to you. But considering the fact that at any moment you can jump out of an issue and then go back to the search and find the event that you were looking for, this might not be a massive roadblock for other people. I just think it'd be something that could speed up the process. There is a section as well that's popular series, and there is a lot of great titles in here that I just completely forgot about. And I think Marvel Unlimited could improve on that. They could have a feature that's kind of like hidden gems. Because at the moment, it does feel like you can only really find the series that they want you to. You're not really going to stumble on something. It doesn't feel like the recommendations are tailored to you. But it does also give you the option to follow a series so that when new issues come in, you're notified of it. You've got your own library where you can save comics and series that you like. So I do think that there is a lot to really love about this app. You know, in spite of my criticisms. And just to quickly touch on it, because whenever you talk about digital comics, it seems like there's this eternal debate on if it's better than physical, but the Marvel Unlimited app kind of works in tandem with it. I've been using this to trial out a few issues of series that I wasn't really sure if I wanted to get the omnibus for, and it gives you that confidence when you're buying the book to know if it's what you wanted. You know, in the last couple of years, there has been a lot of blind buying with how quickly everything's been going out to print. Now I don't really have that worry as much because I can check out the series on here, and I might even realise that I didn't really like it. And as well, I was reading the Daredevil by Charles Soule omnibus, and I still loved having that thick book in my hands. And when I was really enjoying that run and I had a spare 10 minutes to myself in my car, I could just pick up my phone and continue at the issue that I left off at. So I don't think it has to be an either or situation. Even though I do think this is going to save me money in the long run, I still know that I'm going to buy collected editions of the books that I really enjoy. And if you've never really read comics before, it might be difficult to know if you want to go down the physical or digital route. So I've already done a video that's like a beginner's guide to comics, and you might want to check that out. But we're going to wrap this up with the main question. Is Marvel Unlimited worth it in 2022? And I think when I consider everything like the range of issues that it's got, the price, the features that it has, the accessibility options, and contrast it with the criticisms that I did have, like the difficulty in finding the settings, some of the series that I wish it had but it doesn't, and its fluidity with other connected series. Overall, I do still think that for about £5 a month, this is pretty much one of the best comic services that I've experienced. And honestly, if you're considering signing up, make sure you do whilst it's got that $10 discount, which I wish I could have got, and just try it out for the 7 free days. Obviously, it's going to take your payment details when you register, so just make sure that you remember, maybe set a reminder in your phone if it is that you do want to cancel, because I think there is a lot of people that would get a benefit out of this service if they just gave it a chance. So if I was to recommend Marvel Unlimited to somebody, it's definitely for people who do want to get a wide range of comics and maybe have a bit of a budget that they need to stick with. A year's subscription to this is pretty much the cost of one omnibus. If you're somebody that only really likes the obscure side of the Marvel universe or darker titles, then you might really not get your money's worth out of this. But if you're constantly on the move, or maybe you haven't got a lot of space in your house for a big collection of comics, I think this is one of the best options for you. If you're somebody who already has a massive collection of comics, then maybe you're not really going to get a lot of use out of this. And also, I just wouldn't recommend this to people who only have a desktop, but again, that's just my experience. But that's the video. If you've checked out Marvel Unlimited, let me know what you think about it in the comments section below. Do me a massive favour, share this video where you can, and hopefully I can get enough money to sign up to the DC Universe version. But for now, just make sure that you stay safe and stay mad, all you dogs. Woof woof! See you in the next video.